Russian lawmakers have passed bills which would grant authorities the power to block access to YouTube, Twitter and Facebook. Russia's lower house of parliament passed a draft legislation which allows authorities to target social media platforms if they have been found to have censored content produced by Russians. Internet websites could now be sanctioned in the event of discrimination against the content of Russian media. Lawmakers also argued YouTube, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram had failed to remove hundreds of URL pages containing banned content as required by Russian law. The first bill would allow Russia to restrict or fully block websites following complaints from state outlets that their accounts were being treated with prejudice by Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. The second bill would allow Russia to fine internet providers and sites at between 10% to 20% of their previous year's Russia-based turnover for repeatedly failing to remove the banned content. For the first time, sites failed to delete content calling for extremist activity, information about recreational drugs and child sexual abuse. The maximum fine is set at 8 million rubles under the bill. The two bills now need to get approval from the upper house and signed by the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Under the pretext of combating online extremism, the Kremlin has stepped up its efforts to control the Russian segment of the internet in recent years. In 2018, regulators ordered the encrypted messenger service Telegram to be blocked. In February, a Moscow court fined Twitter and Facebook for ignoring a Russian law requiring them to store Russian citizens' user data inside the country. Last week, a Moscow court fined Google for not taking down online content banned by Russian authorities. Earlier this year, the US tech giants introduced labels for state-affiliated media outlets. And our correspondent Stuart Smith has sent us this report from Moscow. Take a look.
There are two bills going through Parliament here, both of them virtually certain to get through. One is reasonably uncontroversial. It allows the Russia's communication regulator to block access to websites with child sexual abuse and pornography, which is banned, certain pornography banned under Russian law. But the main focus, the thing that has human rights activists alarmed, is this second bill, which allows Russia to censor websites, any website from any country outside of Russia, but of course focused on these US social media giants like Google, which owns YouTube, and Facebook, which owns Instagram, as well as Twitter. And the lawmakers in Parliament cited one example. They say there have been many, but this one example in August when certain state-affiliated media was labelled by Twitter with that label, as well as some of its senior staff. And the lawmakers say this is prejudiced towards Russia's media, and also say that it's dangerous in the face of potential foreign interference ahead of the elections coming up next year. But this does indeed have human rights activists worried. The Internet Protection Society within Russia, it's an NGO, they say this is a pretext to potentially allowing Russian officials to block access completely to these sites for publishing information which is critical of the Russian state. There are very few outlets left, they say, that allow people to be critical of the Russian state, and this is one further step to restricting freedom of speech. Lawmakers say these new laws will be used very cautiously and very carefully, but YouTubers, Russian YouTubers, have been very vocal about this, making videos on YouTube about the threat to, for some of them, their profession. They make money through YouTube, and this could not only impact freedom of speech, but impact people's ability to make money, their main source of income. And therefore, YouTubers from Russia on the site are very annoyed, as well as people using Twitter and Facebook as well. So far, the tech giants haven't responded, neither Twitter, Google, nor Facebook. But in future, as things go, who knows? This is one law created, but there are laws being passed very quickly through Russia right now with the new constitutional reforms, ahead of which, with these parliamentary elections coming up, we could see further laws designed to keep a tight control on social media giants. One lawyer calling it the tightening of screws on freedom of speech in Russia. So a lot of anxiety about what's going to happen next.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.